Mayoral Memo with Matthew Dickinson from Dubbo Regional Council.
Matthew Dickinson, Mayor of Dubbo Regional Council. Good morning.
Good morning, Rod. Good to be chatting to you.
Let's go to an exciting announcement made late last week.
Certainly. This is quite unbelievable. The largest ever federal government grant for a community piece of infrastructure in Dubbo was announced last week. $7.2 million from the federal government from the Growing Regions program, and this is for our Wiradjuri Cultural Tourism Centre. Now, not only is that the largest ever federal government grant, but the facility itself is a $15 million facility, and that's the largest facility that we'll build since our Dubbo Regional Theatre and Convention Centre. That was completed for about $16 million back in 2010, so this is a significant piece of infrastructure that we'll be building. We'd already secured some money from the state government to put towards this, so the really good news is of the $15 million for that facility, only $2.2 million will need to be provided by ratepayers. And if I compare that to the theatre, which again mentioned back in 2010, $16 million, we provided 100% of that money from ratepayers. We got zero government grants from state or federal for that theatre. We actually had a 5% rate rise over 2 years to actually pay for that theatre. So we've come a long way since those days in terms of our ability to get some grants. So an exciting concept. We've got some pretty tight deadlines in terms of when we have to have that finished by. So we think we'll get that finished by about the middle of 2026, making sure we can satisfy our funding deeds for some of that money that we need to spend. So pretty exciting, and it'll all be happening.
All right. Where is it going to be happening?
Where? Sorry,
Yep.
Was that the question? Yeah, sorry. Up in Elizabeth Park, so near our Shoyo and Japanese gardens, near our adventure playground, just around that same area. That whole block there is called Elizabeth Park. So that's up in East Dubbo. So that'll be a really good area there where people will be able to go along and spend a lot of time around Elizabeth Park there. So it'll just add to our tourism offerings. I think it'll attract people in its own right. But also I think when people do come to Dubbo for other reasons, such as the zoo, then I think that'll be a good opportunity for them to spend time there. And again, with all the facilities we'll end up with around Elizabeth Park, they'll spend a fair bit of time there.
All right. So it's the Wiradjuri Cultural Tourism Centre and Keeping Place.
Correct. So this is all about making sure we've got some sort of Aboriginal offering in terms of when people visit the area, they would like to see some type of Aboriginal tourism, but also having a special place there for our local Aboriginal people as well. So it serves both purposes. And I think this is the exciting thing, Rod. It's something that's going to be good for our local Aboriginal people, our traditional owners, definitely, but also good from a tourism perspective. So it's not just something that's for Aboriginal people, it's something for the whole community. It'll be special for Aboriginal people, but if you're worried about the economy, it'll be fantastic for our economy as well. It'll keep injecting money into our economy. Our estimation is it'll inject $90 million over the first 3 years of operation, inject 160 jobs during that construction and operation process as well.
Just absolutely wonderful that it's to go ahead. When do you expect it to be in operation?
By the middle of 2026, we should have that finished. We've got to make a final stop-go decision this Thursday night at the council meeting. That'll be the last chance for councillors to say no. I'm not sure why they would say no because, again, it's a fantastic opportunity. We've got state government money, we've got federal government money. It all stacks up very well. The plans look fantastic, but we've still got to make sure that councillors are comfortable going ahead. So that'll be the final decision this Thursday night. Once we do that, we've got the DA to finalise, we've got tenders to put out for a construction company, we've got to get the build process happening. But again, we've got some pretty tight deadlines, in particular with our state government funding. So the middle of 2026, we really need to have it up and operational.
Well, let's see it go through. That'd be fantastic. Also, the ASX Top 200 series.
Yeah, this is a series that we started back in 2015. We ran it for a couple of years. Amalgamation stalled the process a little bit, but it was a little idea I had where we thought maybe it'd be quite interesting at a Dubbo Business Chamber breakfast to have CEOs of companies that are in the ASX 200. And many people thought, well, how would you get them here? Well, we had a little secret in how to get them here. We asked them. And blow me down, they started coming in droves. So we were turning people away in the end. Now, we did offer them free flights. We've got sponsorship by Qantas. We did offer them free accommodation. We've got sponsorship by Taronga Western Plains Zoo. And we attracted them out here to basically speak about their company, their journey, if you like, to the Dubbo Business Chamber breakfast each month. And the businesses in the room gained a huge amount of insight. As you can imagine, you don't make it to be the CEO of an ASX 200 company by being an absolute mug. You've obviously got skills, you've got knowledge, you've got experience, and imparting some of that knowledge and information to the businesses in the room was a really important part of that process. But it also gave the businesses in the room a bit of pride, the fact that a company, some of these ASX 200 companies are basically household names, having a CEO from some of these companies come along and speak to you, there's a lot of pride suddenly in your businesses. So in the last series, we had the CEOs of companies like Woolworths and Telstra and Tabcorp and Star Entertainment Group, Macquarie Bank, JB Hi-Fi, Fairfax, Domino's Pizza, BlueScope Steel, Bega Cheese. I mean, obviously very much household names, and the CEO of each of those talking to us for a business breakfast was absolutely fantastic. It stalled, as I said, after the amalgamation, hasn't been restarted. It's one of the things that I said that I'd get back up and going after I became mayor again. So we've worked away on that. We've got sponsorship from Qantas again. We've got sponsorship from Taronga Western Plains Zoo. We've got Dubbo Business Chamber on board. And of course, my job as the mayor is to get these various CEOs here. So that'll start again in August, and we'll go through each month. You'll see another CEO from an ASX 200 company.
Such a good idea. Now, Residents' Night. When's the next one? New Residents' Night.
New Residents' Night, that's right. Every night's Residents' Night, of course, Rod, but New Residents' Night, 22nd of May, this Wednesday night, is the next night for new residents. It's an opportunity for us to say, welcome. Thank you for coming to Dubbo. Thank you for moving from wherever you've moved. If you've moved from the LGA next door or you've moved from across the world, thank you for coming along and being part of our community. But also, we've got stall holders from various sporting groups, various community focus clubs, service clubs, that type of thing, because we want these people to be part of our community. And the easiest way to do that is for them to get involved in different parts of our community. If they've had a background where they've played sport at some type of different sport where they've come from, then join a sporting club, join a sporting team. If they've got more service focus, if they've been involved with service clubs, then sure, join up with the wonderful service clubs we've got here in Dubbo. The main thing is we want them to be part of our community. It's probably a bit scary when you move to a new community, so we really want them to feel welcome. We want them to make sure they can join in, and we want them to stay here. That's the most important part of it. So it's at the Dubbo Regional Theatre and Convention Centre, Wednesday night, 5:30pm through to 7:30pm. We do ask you to register for catering purposes, but we're not going to turn people away if they just turn up at 5:30 on Wednesday night. I actually love these nights because I like hearing the stories from people, how they moved here, what brought them here, what their background is. I mean, everyone's got a fascinating story to tell and a fascinating journey that brought them to Dubbo. So let's hear about that. So it's an exciting night. I look forward to meeting a bunch of new people there.
All right. There's also to be a review of the visitor information centres in Dubbo and Wellington.
One of the things that you used to go to a VIC for was presumably to get some advice about how to get somewhere or what was in an area. Of course, we've got online now, and lots of people use their online maps or they get their advice from TripAdvisor or various online tools. And so we're just reviewing all of our business assets, all of our different facilities of council to make sure we're delivering them in the most efficient way. And so we're doing a review at the moment of our VICs. And one thing that fascinated me, Rod, was that we still sell a lot of maps. I'm fascinated by that. I didn't think we'd sell any maps because everyone's got their phone or their iPad in their car. They can look at that and they can work out where they're going. But people still love that tactile feel. They come in and they talk to someone about a map and they open up the map and they scribble on it a bit and they pay a couple of dollars for that map and away they go. So that's an important part of it still. But we've found with some of the research that we've done that many VICs are now co-located with a cafe or a museum. Is that something we should be looking at? We've got our 2 VICs at the moment that are standalone VICs. Should we be relocating those? Should we take the Wellington one and put it near the Wellington Cave? Should we take that, maybe put it in the library? Is that a sensible place to do it? In Dubbo, should we have a cafe at our VIC at the moment? Should we actually relocate it around near our cultural centre? Would that be a better place for it? We've got the Newell Highway that our VIC currently sits on, but with the new Dubbo Bridge construction, well, the Newell Highway won't go past there anymore, so that negates part of the advantage of our current VIC. It's actually quite fascinating when you start to break down not doing things because they've always been done, but doing things because it's the best solution is a really challenging way to look at different things. And looking at our VICs, not sure how they'll change, not sure if they'll change at all, but we are looking at those to make sure we are delivering that service in the best possible way.
We're hearing from Mayor of Dubbo Regional Council, and it's time, Matthew Dickinson, for story time. What's that about?
National Simultaneous Story Time is something that I actually love. I get to go around to usually a couple of the schools and read a book during this period. It's the idea just to encourage kids to read. And our libraries are involved. Libraries are involved across the state, across the nation. And when I say National Simultaneous Story Time, it's not quite all at exactly the same time. It's all during this week, basically. For example, on Tuesday, the 21st of May from 10:30 to 11 at the Dubbo Library. And then on Wednesday, the 23rd of May from 11 to 11:45 at the Wellington Library, there'll be a story being read to kids in the library, and people can come along, bring their kids along. Parents can come along if they want to listen to a story being read by someone. The story this year, or the book this year that's been chosen, is a book called Bowerbird Blues by Aura Parker. So you've done quite well if you get your book chosen, because this is the book that's being read by millions of kids across the nation, at schools, at preschools, at childcare centres, community groups, all sorts of things. So keep an ear out for that one, or pop into your local library and participate in that. Maybe ask to or volunteer to read a book to some of the kids there. It's a pretty special time and really encourages kids to be involved in reading.
I thank you for your time today.
Always my pleasure, Rod. Thanks for chatting.
Mayoral Memo with Matthew Dickinson from Dubbo Regional Council.